Good morning everyone. This is the next part of the video. We were discussing about the ear. We have discussed about the outer ear, middle ear, and now we are going to discuss about the inner ear. We have also discussed about the inner ear, that what is the structure, what are the labyrinth, membranous, bony, and what is the cochlea. All we have discussed. Now we are going to focus basically on the structures which are present in the inner ear. These are the main structures which are dedicated for the hearing process. Now, first of all, let us see what is organ of corti. What is the structure and what is where it is located at? Let me tell you that organ of corti, it is basically a structure which is located on the bacillus membrane. See, there were two membranes. One was the resinous membrane, another one was the basilar. This was the resinous membrane. I appreciate this, and I appreciated this in green color. That is the bacillus membrane. So we have seen that the bacillus membrane was separating scala media with the scala tympani over here, and this resinous membrane, it is separating scala media with the stela vestibuli. All right, so that was the thing. Now, organ of corti is basically present over the bacillus membrane. I guess you can appreciate this. That is the basilar organ of corti. Basically, organ of corti comprised of the hair cells. There are the hair cells which are present in the organ of corti. So these hair cells, on one end they are bounded with the organ of corti, other end they have stereocilia. So on the basal side they are very close contact with the afferent nerve fibers which is present on the basal membranes only, and on the apical side they have stereocilia. There are stereocilia which is present from the apical part of this hair cells, and these hair cells, they are arranged now above the rows of the hair cells. Now above these rows only, where the stereocilia are attached, they are attached basically to a elastic membrane that is known as the tectorial membrane. Basically they are attached to the tectorial membrane. So this is a diagram in which you can clearly see that this is the bacillus membrane, that is the resinous membrane, and this green colors are the hair cells. Basically they are attached on the bacillus membrane, and this whole structure as such they form the organ of corti. Together they are called organ of corti. So basically among these also hair cells are of different size. One are the larger, other one is smaller. I have not made both of them. I have just shown them of the similar size. And on the apical side, in this bluish and the purple color, you can see that they are the stereocilia which are projecting from the apical part of these hair cells, and they are attached to this red colored structure. This is basically the membrane which we discussed, and the name is tectorial membrane. And below they are attached with the afferent fibers, which fibers actually transmit the signals to the auditory cortex of our brain. Now see in this diagram also, it is very clearly shown that this whole red is shaded part. This whole red shaded part is basically what? Yes, this red shaded part is the organ of corti. And see, by these stereocilia they are attached with the tectorial membrane. So these are the hair cells basically. Don't go for this further classification, it is not needed for the NEET examination. You just understand that is the tectorial membrane by which they are attached. So this is the bacillus membrane, that is the resinous membrane over here, and that's the scala media comprising of the endolymph. All this green color is the endolymph present inside the scala media. Now we have discussed about the organ of corti. Now what is written in the NCERT, that the inner ear, it also contains a complex system that is known as the vestibular apparatus, and this vestibular apparatus is basically located over the cochlea, and it is comprised of two things. There are three semicircular canals. One is the semicircular canals which are 3 in number, and they are present perpendicular to each other, which means they are 90 degree to each other. That means in the XYZ plane. And the second thing is the otolith. Otolith basically it is comprised of the the saccule and the utricle part of the this inner ear. They also have a covering known as the macula. So basically this whole thing makes the otolith. Don't worry, we'll see this in the diagram right now only. And the membranous canals are suspended in the perilymph of the bony canals. Very simple to understand. Outside is the bony labyrinth, or we say bony canals. In the semicircular canals, if we are discussing about the semicircular canals, we will say that it is the what? It is bony canal, and comprised of the inside the bony canal it is perilymph, and inside that perilymph we have membranous canals, and inside the membranous canals we have endolymph. Very simple, right? And the base of the canals are basically swollen, that is known as the ampulla, and they have a projecting ridge over them, all the ampulla, that is known as crista ampullaris. And basically these are the crista ampullaris which have hair cells also. In the which portion? In this semicircular area, in the semicircular canal areas, right? What we discussed right now, that was on the cochlea. What we are discussing right now is the semicircular canal area. There we have crista ampullaris. Now saccule and the utricle, they have projecting ridges, that is called as the macula. Now together this crista and the macula, this means the crista ampullaris and this macula, right? Both of them together, they have specific receptors of the vestibular apparatus which are basically responsible for maintenance of the body and the posture. Like I have told you, the ear, they have two basic functions. One of the function is to, hearing, that is the basic function. Second function is what? Second function is to maintain the correct body posture. We have discussed about this. Now see in this diagram, that is the three semicircular canals, right? One is this, second is this, and third is this one. Now they all are at 90 degree to each other. 90 degrees, they have an angle of 90 degrees made with each other. That is the cochlea. Now if this is the cut section of all this structure, all this blue color what we see is basically what? All this blue color structure, this blue purplish color of structure which we can see is basically membranous labyrinth or the membranous canal when we are discussing about the semicircular canals filled with the endolymph. All this pinkish color or this orangish color outside, which means a membrane we can see now, this is not basically membrane, this is the bony canals, or we say the bony labyrinth in the case of the cochlea. So all this pinkish is the bony labyrinth, which have which kind of fluid? Yes, they have perilymph. Yes, they have perilymph. That is the oval window. Sorry, not the oval window. It is the oval window, and that's come the round window. Okay, that is not very clearly appreciated in these diagrams. We will later come on to see them. Now I just want you to understand that utricle is the swollen portion of this. What is this? Semicircular canals. When they are fused to an area, this membranous portion, they form the utricle, and the swollen portion over here, it is the saccule. That's the utricle, that's the saccule. And we have discussed that they both have what? They both have some kind of sensory receptors, or we can say the sensory membrane, that is known as the macula or the macula. You can see this is the macula, that's the utricle portion, that's the saccule portion, and this utricle, or we can say the saccule, is basically connecting the semicircular canals with the inner endolymph of the cochlea. So that is the macula over here, and this macula, and the other thing is the hair. What is these are the swollen bases of the semicircular canals. You can easily appreciate these are the swollen bases of the semicircular canals. That is swollen, that is also swollen. We name them as the ampulla, and they have cristae inside them. So basically in these two diagrams we can see the cristae over here. These cristae have the nerve fibers ending over there, right? This is the hair cell as such. Hair bundles is present over there, and we have nerve fibers ending with them. And what we have over here, we have hair cells in this macula portion. This is the basically a macula, enlargement of the macula is done over here. And we have hair cells which are of type 2 type, and they have the stereocilia, same as we have learned in the cochlea. The difference is only this: we don't have a tectorial membrane over here. Whereas in the cochlea, where we have a tectorial membrane, we don't have this kind of tectorial membrane over here. They are hair cells with the nerve fiber endings. Very simple to understand. Now we're going to understand what is the mechanism of hearing. How do we hear the sounds? See, we have learned about the whole ear as such till now. First of all, let me tell you, we have discussed the outer ear, middle ear, and inner ear in a detail. We have discussed the anatomy portion. Now we are going to learn about the mechanism of hearing. See guys, this is the outer pinna. What was the function? To collect all the vibrations from the various areas and transmit into a canal. This canal is known as external auditory canal. Yes. Now the eardrum vibrates. Now what happens? These vibrations will convey to the three ossicles. What was the name? Malleus, incus, stapes. Very good. That was the malleus, incus, and stapes. So they will also vibrate. Now this stapes was this foot plate of the stapes was placed over which window? Oval or round? Yeah, that was on the oval window. Now this gonna vibrate inside the whole perilymph. The whole blue color you can see, it is the perilymph. So see, you can see easily appreciate that the vibrations have gone over here, and whole of the vibrations don't need to be transferred. Most of the vibrations come back and they are retracted back towards the round window, because that kind of vibration is not needed. Out of lot of the vibrations, only few amount of the vibration is needed to just make the organ of Corti active. Now as the vibrations means the vibrations which is not needed are transmitted back to the round window. So where was the vibrations gone which are needed? They have transferred to the endolymph. This is the endolymph. Yes, or let me highlight this also. This is the endolymph. Yeah, this portion is the endolymph. How they have transmitted to over here? With the vibration of the bacillus membrane. Yes, don't you understand? See guys, yes, this was the basilar membrane over here. Very good. This vibrates. Let me show you this another diagram also. See guys, as you can see, basilar membrane is this. Now the vibrations have come from the, this is what, this the stapes, that's the oval window. Vibrations have been conveyed to this whole perilymph, and as a result this endolymph also vibrate. This is the endolymph now. This is the endolymph portion, this dark grayish color. Now as a result basilar membranes also vibrate. You can see these vibrations. As these basilar membranes vibrate, what will happen? Let me take you back to the organ of Corti. Here was the organ of Corti. They will bend themselves to the tectorial membrane, which means they will lift upwards. Let me show you this also. Suppose these are the hair cells, right? So these are the stereocilia, and they have lifted a little bit above. And they will touch themselves to the tectorial membrane, because this basilar membrane as such have been transferred a little bit upwards because of the vibrations, up and down, up and down, up and down. As a result, they cause a friction on the tectorial membrane, up and down, up and down, up and down. As a result, what we were having afferent fibers from here, isn't it? These are the afferent fibers going from here, right? And we also know them as the cochlear nerve fibers. As a result, afferent fibers will take all the transmissions to where? Yes, these are the afferent fibers taking transmissions to the auditory cortex of the brain, and hence we recognize that what is the sound. Now that was the mechanism of the hearing. You can see this video again if you are not very clear. You can see the portion again from where you are not very clear. And this nerve that is known as the vestibulocochlear nerve is a part by which you are taking transmissions from your inner ear to your brain. For the first part of this video, you can see the link in the description. It is given. The first part is mentioned over here, where we discussed about the parts of the outer, inner and middle ear, and we have discussed about the anatomy, their arrangement, their functions over there in the first part. Here basically we have discussed about the mechanism of hearing. Second thing, we have discussed about the utricle, otolith also, and what we have discussed mainly the secule, macula and all those part now, which becomes too much confusing, we have discussed over here. And yeah, otolith is not nothing. Otolith is basically the covering over this what is present inside the structure of the macula. Otolith is the covering in spite of the tectorial membrane. See, tectorial membrane was there in the cochlea. That is the tectorial membrane. Let me take you back over here. Yes, this was a tectorial membrane, but this is present in the cochlea only. We should have a covering over these hair cells only, which are in the semicircular canals, right? In the otolith and all that, in the utricle and the secule, we must have, so that we can prevent the over uplifting. So we have a otolith covering over there. Otolith membrane is present over there. Basically, the otolith is that only, and the sensory part is the macule. Sensory part of the utricle secule is the macule, and that all this we have learned about this. Okay guys, now we will meet on the next video that will be based on the ear, right? Till then you can learn this, you can figure it out. In case of any kind of difficulty, you can comment in the comment box and ask if you have not understood a part of this video or what is your question.